writing is exactly what the era of TikTok wants.
Oh man, that's
been
so
working.
true.
That's been working great for me in the era of, hey, let's book this guy because he's got 200,000 followers on Instagram.
God, it's so sad. No other profession is like that.
Yeah, I mean, I open for someone who's like closer is like slipping on a banana peel and falling on a hot dog that goes up their ass.
Where was this at?
I'm just.
Oh, you just.
Yeah, I'm just.
I was like, who's this guy? Who's this TikToker?
That sounds interesting.
I wouldn't surprise me if I'm being
I'm gonna
honest.
send him my avails. But you know what I mean? Like that's like their act, you know. And that's who I'm opening for. And they're just fucking dying when he gets on stage and does that gag. And then I'm up there for 20 minutes, like doing jokes that I've written and worked out and really thought about. And they're just like, haha.
Yep. It's man, it's embarrassing.
Yeah.
It's and I felt like it wasn't like that when we started.
No, it wasn't.
It wasn't. You were actually opening up for, I wouldn't say good people, but like people that did comedy at least.
Yeah.
You know?
No, I mean I still open up for good people, but like you do still have
You haven't opened for me. That's weird.
Well, I said good people.
Okay.
I don't mean Carl's bad at comedy. I mean he's just a bad person.
Yeah. Thanks for having me on.
But no, I don't know. It's just weird. There's still places that you can go where it's going to be good, but unfortunately none of those places are like mainstream. You know what I mean? Like,
you mean like one-nighters, like kind of like
one-nighters,
independent rooms,
one-nighters, some clubs still, but like those aren't the places that are going to get you on Netflix. You know what I mean? Like those aren't the places that are going to allow you to have a living doing this. You know what I mean?
I also think Netflix is kind of becoming Comedy Central in some ways.
Yeah.
Where like
100%.
if you just scroll through the comics on there, half of them are terrible.
Yeah, I mean they oversaturate it big time. Yeah. Comedy has gotten to a point where I just can't consume it anymore on any platform. Like when it comes up in Netflix or like even HBO, and HBO isn't even that bad. HBO actually still puts out good specials, I think.
They do, because they don't put them on a lot.
Exactly. It's like 1 or 2 a year.
Yeah.
But even if I see it on HBO, definitely if I see any sort of, if I see a clip that even just mimics stand-up comedy on TikTok or Instagram, I'm like, next. I don't even want to hear one word out of it. I'm just like, next.
Is there anything? Are there TikTokers like this? Because you ever see like a comic they're trying too hard to be a comic on stage?
Oh yeah, 100%.
And you're like, this is why it's not going to work for you, because you're not being yourself. You're trying to be someone else. You know?
100%.
I think that's what TikTokers are doing for the most part, right?
Maybe. Oh yeah. Well, yeah. Because I mean, I opened for a guy. He was more of a YouTuber than a TikToker, but I'm sure he has a TikTok following now. It was just because he was a YouTuber at the time that I opened for him, because I don't think TikTok was really a thing yet. Mm-hmm. So, but I'm sure he made that leap. I haven't kept up with him. He was a nice kid. But like,
that's depressing. He was a nice person at 20 years younger than me.
He was a nice kid, and he had stand-up comedy timing, but he was 100% doing Bill Burr. You know what I mean? Like it was just like 100.
You know what, dude?
No, it was like 100% that. You know what I mean? And so like, you know, and I've seen him recently, and he's like even bigger now. And he's like headlining clubs and stuff, which I'm like, all right, whatever. You know, I'm not going to be like a hater, which is why I'm not going to say his name. I'm sure people can figure out who I'm talking about. Like if you want to do enough sleuthing and dig far enough back into my social media, you can probably figure out who I'm talking about.
If you really care about this podcast that much.
but again, he was like a nice kid. He wasn't like a dickhead. You know what I mean? Like he was a nice kid. He was, you know, whatever.
Respectful.
Exactly. And
respect your elders.
And I think it's because he understood what he was. Sure. You know what I mean? Like I don't think he thought
self-aware.
Exactly.
Self-aware. Yeah, that's nice.
I think he understood that he was a content creator, not a stand-up comedian, and that him going on stage that night was content, not stand-up comedy. Yeah. You know.
Yeah, it's sad. It's kind of depressing.
Yeah.
But every once in a while, you do get the people that are self-aware. Like I opened up for a PowerPoint comic a few days ago, but he's been around since the '80s. He's done comedy in San Francisco, and he was talking about how like, me and the alternative scene, we didn't get along. Like Janine Garofalo hated me, and I thought there's a reason, and. I mean, he did great. He had his own audience, which is all you can ask for when you have your own audience. But he was also like an engineer, And a part of me was like, what are you doing this for? You're doing all right, you know?
Yeah.
But and then he kind of made fun of me for my day job while he was on stage, like that I do lawn care. He made fun of me for doing that, and I was like, nah, I think he's kind of being a dick.
Yeah. Hey, Carl, fuck you for doing something that's actually good for the earth.
Well, I mean, that's argument. I don't know if it's good for me or the earth, but it was just like, you know, it was just one of those things where. Bill asked me like last minute. I don't know if somebody canceled on him or anything like that, but and it went fine enough. But I just knew how it was going to go.
Yeah,
I wasn't gonna. It was a 2-person show.
Yeah. I mean, half the time I think like when those guys shit on what you do, it's just because they don't really know how to be funny and they think that that's being funny. You know what I mean? Like I don't think they're like really trying to like put you down. Like,
no, I wasn't. I wasn't offended. He was actually a pretty nice dude.
Yeah. But, I think it's just that they don't really know humor. So humor to them is to just be like, "Fuck this thing."
He was doing like jokes about pie charts. You know what I mean? So it was like,
oh, the pie chart comment.
And then
I know
he did a thing. Then he did a thing. Yeah. He did a. You know, you're an engineer when. Yeah, it was like the Jeff Foxworthy thing, but engineers. Jesus Christ. And at that point, I felt much better. You know.
Yeah. I mean, but
he's got an audience and I don't, so good for him, you know.
I mean, I think I'm technically in my day job an engineer, and I would say, you know, you're an engineer when you fucking hate your life and want to do anything else.
Guys, thank you for listening to this podcast. We're done, right? That's it. We're wrapping it.
That's the end of the podcast. Actually, there's no more episodes after that one.
Do you have any? Have you ever? I did write a few things down. I came prepared.
I did not. I'm just fine. Like, hey, we're just gonna.
You didn't even know I was coming.
No, I started setting all of this up. I started setting all the lights and the camera and like the mics up, and it was about 20 minutes before we were gonna start. And I'm like, I should probably text Carl to see if he's actually coming.
Oh my God. Have you ever said something on your pod? And I know probably having Sam as a co-host, I could see Sam's eyes going, yeah. Have you ever said something on the pod that where you're like, someone might message me about this the next day? You might get
not this one yet.
Yeah. Well,
not this one yet.
I mean, like in general, like any.
In general, yeah, I've definitely said things on Bert Selleck that I'm like, ooh, I maybe should take that episode down before it gets out there. But then I'm kind of just like, I'm never going to be famous, so who fucking gives a shit?
Also, when the thing about doing a podcast is when you do it for a long time, you're talking for so long, you're going to say dumb stuff.
Yeah.
It's going to happen.
Yeah. There was once, okay, so like when I was interviewing for my current day job, I asked Brett Mercer, friend of the show, to take down all of my Big Time Garbage episodes. Because every time I've been on Big Time Garbage, we've just talked about the bathhouse and gay sex.
Oh my God.
So I'm just like, this should maybe not be out there for employers that might Google my name. So I don't know if he ever put them back up. I never like messaged him like, okay, you can put those episodes back up.
That is so funny that you have to do that.
That was the only thing that I was like really worried about.
I think they would Google, what they would do is they would Google your name.
Yeah.
And then it would come up Big Time Garbage. And because of that name, they'd be like, I don't think we're going to have to listen to this. It's so funny.